preparing for your foam plate, you're going to want to have your small foam plate and a thin piece of paper. I'm going to go ahead and take this and trace my foam plate on this paper. I'm then going to sketch my idea within the outline of the foam plate, so that way, once my drawing and composition is complete, I can easily transfer it to my plate exactly where I want everything. Once you have laid out your design and composition on your paper, you're going to turn it upside down and go to a light source to trace the reverse on the back. You want to use a marker like Sharpie so that you can see through it. Once you have traced the reverse of your design, you're ready to transfer it to your foam plate. This is crucial that you do this step because when we go to print this image, we need it to be opposite so that our words and our numbers aren't backwards. So with the reverse laying down, I'm going to take my foam plate, and because I went over my design in marker, you can easily see through. I'm now going to grab my ballpoint pen. I'm going to actually just tack this in place for a moment, and I'm going to begin to carefully trace over my design. It's very important that you take your time with this step, because once you have made an impression on the foam plate, you can't erase it. So I find it helpful and more comfortable to rotate my plate in all different directions so that I am easily tracing my design. I'm going to use pretty firm pressure, and you will feel that it's almost like your pen is carving into the foam. I'll continue to do this until I have traced my entire design. Once you've gone over your entire design in your ballpoint pen, you can go ahead and lift it off if you had it taped down. Make sure no tape is left on your foam plate. So just gotta peel that little bit off. Okay, and you can see your design through, and now you're ready to prepare for printing. Printing your foam plate. What you're going to need is your bag with your ink and tongue depressors, your foam dish, a sheet of the manila paper, your foam plate fully carved and designed, your brayer, and a sheet of the large white paper from your black portfolio folder. I'm going to go ahead and start by folding this in half, creasing it in both directions to tear in half. If I fold it back and forth and give it a good crease, it'll be easy to tear. We're going to have 2 copies of this print, so this sheet torn in half is the perfect size. So now that that's ready, I'm actually just going to set it aside. Now I'm going to prep for my ink. I'm going to place my foam plate here on the manila paper to keep the area clean. I'm going to grab my Ziploc bag, open it up, take one of the tongue depressors and the little dish of ink. So the printmaking ink is water soluble, so it washes away with water. It's pretty thick and sticky. So I'm going to carefully open the lid. I'm going to scoop maybe a tablespoon of ink, and I'm going to go ahead and place it here on my dish. And try to get as much as I can so that I'm not wasting any. I'll set that aside, close it up because we do not want it to dry out, and back in the bag. Now I'm going to take my brayer and I'm going to smooth this ink out so that I get an even coat on my roller. So I'm gonna just start by going one direction and then the other until the ink is smoothly distributed on the plate and on the roller. Some of them are squeaky. So once that's ready, I'm going to then take my foam plate and I'm going to very carefully roll with the ink. I had a pretty good amount of ink on my brayer, so I actually do not need to dip again. So you really don't need much ink at all. These foam plates ink up really easily. So I don't need to dip again. I'm gonna make sure that I go across it multiple times in all directions, and it should make a kind of like sticky Velcro sound. Make sure you get all the way to the edges so you get a clean outline when you go to print. Okay, now I'm gonna set my brayer down and I'm gonna use this flat side to set it down so I don't get any ink on my work surface. So now I'm going to take another sheet of my manila, because this one's all inky. I'm going to very carefully lift up and transfer my plate. I'm going to carefully grab a sheet of my paper and I'm gonna try to just drop it on top. Once we lay it down, we can't move it. So I'm going to try to just very easily, lightly drop it on as even and straight as I can. Once I let it go, it's done. So I'm gonna carefully just make sure it sticks on. And with the foam plates, you can really use the pressure of your hand, or you can use the back of a wooden spoon to just kind of smooth over, go in kind of a circular motion, always making sure you get the edges and the corners because we often miss those. So just firm pressure, pressing the plate. And then carefully peeling from the corner. You can kind of check to see how it transferred. If you feel like it didn't transfer completely, go ahead and just gently lay it back down and go over it one more time. And reveal your plate. So I'm gonna hold it gently, peel it, and reveal my design. I'm gonna let this dry completely before putting it in my portfolio, and since I have my ink plate ready, I'll ink it up and print a second copy. After your first print, you might want to make adjustments. You can simply wash your plate with water in the sink, make additions, draw more into your plate. I did that by adding some more expressive lines. You can then re-ink it and print again. Make sure that you wash your brayer, that you wash your foam plate, and that you wash your foam so that they're all clean and you can use them again. You just need water, a sponge or a wet paper towel, and then go ahead and make sure you dry them off when you're done.